In this video, I was just wanting to discuss a possibility of a possible repair fix for this broken sheave for the secondary driven clutch. What I'm thinking is, if I go to somebody who's got a foundry that can melt down some aluminum and do a sand cast, what I could do is I can press this into the sand. This would be open here. We'll then pick it up and press it down again to make a complete radius of this surface, and then come back, place that there in the sand cast to where that is finished out. I mean, you can also just carve it with your hand, and then clean this all up, lay that there. And what you would do is you would lay it to where the curve sits as parallel, because you know that's got an angle to it. Lay the sand bed at an angle like that, so where this is level with the ground. So when you lay that in and you pour molten aluminum in there, it would, to some extent, maybe bond to that if it's cleaned up well. It's hard to know. And then if it doesn't, you could always braise it with some silver or brass braise to get it to capillary into that joint around in there. The other thought I had was taking a chunk of aluminum that, you know, say it was 1/2 inch thick or 3/8 thick, depending on how thick this is from here to there. I'm guessing 1/2 inch. And you cut it out in this shape, roughly, and then either grind this to fit it or kind of shape that chunk of aluminum to fit this space. And when you set it on there, it would obviously be, you know, rectangular, come out like this. So you could braise that on or weld it on. I'm thinking brazing because this is cast aluminum. I wouldn't say that it's the best at welding. If I had a TIG welder, I think I could probably do that. You know, weld it inside this surface and this surface. And then whether it's welded on or brazed on, what you do is go to a machine shop then, and since this is centered, I believe they could center that on the lathe, and then spin that on the lathe and take down that surface aluminum to match this surface. And then maybe before that gets brazed on, what you could do is you can cut back the surface with an angle grinder to give it to kind of make it this shape on the back side, because if you leave that chunk there, it's going to be you'd have to balance this somehow. So you'd either have to put a counterweight over here, or you need to grind that to kind of match the mass that's similar to the back side of that. So the first thing I would do before that is I would clean it up on wire wheel and stuff. Okay, get it, you know, cleaned up somewhat. I would take a stiff brush, like a like something like that, stiff brush like that, and I would, you know, get in there with some soapy water and get into the pebbles of the cast in there to get make sure it's really clean. And then you probably want to use some kind of flux. If you're going to braze it on, you have to use aluminum flux. But you know, these don't really turn all that fast. So if you can grind the backside of that chunk of aluminum to match this somewhat, and then that was turned down on the lathe to match this, I mean, I bet that it would probably, it wouldn't rotate too out of balance, I don't think. Anyway, that's just a thought. If anybody on this or watching this channel and watching this video happens to be someone who has the equipment to do what I described, let me know. I'd be thrilled to see if you can help me out there. I will keep you posted as I continue with this project. So if I can't find the fixed sheave for this clutch, that's what I'll have to pursue next. Anyway, I will see you in the next video.